Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original and independent 90s movie, was fun, exciting, and quite violent. Who knew the campy, popular kids cartoon and toy line would get a grounded, gritty live-action film adaptation? As a kid, I was so excited when the original live-action film of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out in 1990. I distinctly remember seeing the poster and imagining in my head what the turtles would look like in reality. In light of the upcoming reboot, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, it seems like a good time to look back at the original movie and how it stands as one of the most unique comic book films ever made. The plot is simple. In New York City, reporter April O'Neil is investigating a hidden crime wave of burglaries by a secret gang called the Foot Clan. During a mugging one night, she is rescued by unseen vigilantes who live deep within the sewers of the city. We of course discover that these vigilantes are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They began as 4 baby turtles who were mutated by radioactive ooze into crime-fighting ninjas. Oh yeah, and the 4 turtles are also teenagers and love pizza. That's the basic premise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which began as a comic book, but eventually evolved into a hugely popular cartoon and toy line that captured the hearts and minds as well as pockets of kids around the world. I was one of those kids and have fond memories of getting up on Saturday mornings to watch the cartoon. In the 80s, when a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was first pitched, it was a hard sell for studios, which didn't have much faith in comic book movies, following the aftermath of duds such as Superman 4 and Howard the Duck. Although silly and cartoonish, the original comics of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were quite different in tone from the lightheartedness of the kids' cartoon. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles creators, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, grounded their mutant heroes in a dark, gritty, and surprisingly violent world. They definitely didn't write their stories for a child audience. The idea of successfully making a live-action version of these characters took a big step forward when Steve Barron was hired to direct the movie. Steve Barron was a fan of the comics and approached the movie with the idea of combining the dark, gritty tone of the comics with the fun, playful appeal of the cartoon. Although, as we will see, the finished product leaned more towards the edgy film noir style of Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird's comics. For me, the Turtles' costumes are the heart of this movie. They were designed by the visionary Jim Henson, creator of the Muppets, at his Creature Workshop in London. They were Henson's last major project before his tragic death shortly after the film's premiere. These highly advanced costumes required 60 pounds of animatronic equipment to simulate all their lifelike human emotions. So you can imagine how challenging it was for the actors in the suits. Fortunately, lighter weight costumes were used for the fight scenes. All the hard work put into the costumes certainly paid off, especially in their faces. The turtles each beautifully articulate a distinct personality. Leonardo's earnest features suit his role as the overachiever and leader of the team. Raphael expresses a brooding angst. Donatello's expressions captures his cerebral, ironic detachment, while Michelangelo has the party animal mentality of a teenager that just hit puberty. The cast are all great in their roles. Judith Hoag plays April O'Neil and really puts her heart into the role and has great chemistry with the turtles. I imagine what a challenge it must have been to react naturally to an animatronic puppet, but Judith Hoag brings real emotion to all of her scenes and interacts with the turtles as if they were really alive. She also has great chemistry with the hockey stick-wielding vigilante Casey Jones, wonderfully played by Elias Koteas, whose energetic performance plays up the character's rugged masculinity, yet also expresses the soft core underneath all of his macho posturing. The Shredder was played by 2 actors. James Saito was the physical actor, while David McCarran provided Shredder's voice. The 2 actors combined their forces to make the Shredder a memorable villain. James Saito has to act a lot through his eyes, and his intense expressions, together with his fierce fighting style, really make the Shredder into a menacing physical threat. And then you have David McCarran's deep, gravelly voice as Shredder, which intimidates and inspires fear with just the right amount of theatricality without coming off too campy. I also forgot that a young Sam Rockwell was in this movie. He plays the head thug, who I mostly remember as the guy selling cigarettes.
You got any cigarettes? Regular or menthol?
He really captures that 90s generation of cynical, bleak, and disaffected youth. You know, the Beavis and Butthead types. This movie just distills that grunge style that would take over the 90s era. The entire subplot of Danny, the shoplifting, troubled teen who joins the Foot Clan, is just another example of that type of neglected, obnoxious, and rebellious youth that defined much of the 90s era. Edward Furlong in Terminator 2 is another prime example. I also love how video games and juvenile delinquency are linked in these types of movies. Upon the movie's release, there was a strong backlash to the movie's violence from concerned parents. Some even believed that the Turtles encouraged aggression and antisocial behavior in young adults. It is kinda ironic how the Turtles were blamed for corrupting the youth, which was the very thing they were fighting against in the movie. Unfortunately, this strong backlash led to the more kids-friendly sequels. Even the 2014 reboot is more in the spirit of the cartoon than the much darker comics. I also have to mention the movie's soundtrack, which for me is as iconic as the film, featuring classic 90s rappers and hip-hop artists such as MC Hammer, High Tech 3, and Partners in Crime. John Duprez composed the original score, which ranges from hip dance beats to tense, moody vibes that give weight to the story by creating an atmosphere of fun, action, and suspense. I want to end by highlighting 3 elements that the film does exceptionally well, which is why I think it is one of the most satisfying comic book movies of all time. 1. By grounding the Turtles in the real world, the film allowed me to emotionally invest in the Turtles, which was easy for me as a kid, since I often sympathized with the non-human characters more than the humans. The fact that I am still emotionally swept up by the film to this day is a testament to the great writing and how well it creates a realistic backdrop for all the crazy turtle action. 2. Like I said before, Jim Henson's state-of-the-art turtle puppets are the heart of this movie for me. The puppeteers of the Turtles bring them to life through achieving an incredible range of expression, giving each of the Turtles their own distinct personality. I appreciate this reliance on practical effects, which is another instance of how the film is able to achieve such a level of gritty realism. 3. The film is notable for creating a grimy urban setting that feels real and lived in, while also seamlessly blending into that world all the fantastical stuff from the cartoon and comic, and remaining comic book accurate on top of it all. I mean, that's impressive. I also love how the film doesn't shy away from showing the real social and family pressures affecting its characters, which gives meaning and purpose to the action. I mean, the Turtles make their home in the sewers, which sets the overall gritty, naturalistic tone and atmosphere of the movie. The backdrop of New York City is made to look dirty, grimy, and uninviting. I love this movie and always find myself coming back to it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will look forward to seeing you all in the next video.